History, interesting facts, and rules of Olympic events. The Olympics is a major international multi-sport event. During the Games, athletes from all over the world compete in a variety of different events. The Olympics has something for everyone, whether you're a fan of watching or participating in competitions. In today's video, we'll look at some interesting facts, history, and rules of Olympic events. So without any further ado, let's get into the video. Number 11. Tradition of biting Olympic medal. For many athletes, winning an Olympic medal is the highlight of their career. But for some, the medal itself is not enough. They want to bite it. The tradition of biting one's Olympic medal dates back to the early days of the Games, when winners would often bite their gold medals to prove that they were made of solid gold. In more recent years, athletes have been known to bite their medals as a sign of victory or simply to show off their new hardware to the world. Number 10. Winners engraved on the stadium walls. Not all champions are remembered. For every legend that goes down in history, countless others fall by the wayside. Their accomplishments forgotten and their names lost to time. But immortality awaits those few who manage to etch their names into the annals of sports history. And there is no greater monument to sporting achievement than a stadium. For generations, stadiums have been the homes of champions, the places where history's made. They're the sites of some of the most iconic moments in sports, from Babe Ruth's called shot to Michael Jordan's game-winning jumper. And it's on these stadium walls that the game legends are immortalized. From the green fields of Fenway Park to the hardwood court of Madison Square Garden, the names of the greats are etched into the very fabric of these buildings. They're a reminder of what can be achieved and motivation for future generations to reach for greatness. The names on these walls represent the pinnacle of sporting achievement. They're the champions who have left their mark on the game and whose legacies will live on forever. Number 9. Marathon without shoe. Running a marathon is no easy feat. It requires months of training, dedication, and discipline. But what if you had to do it without any shoes? That's exactly what one Kenyan man did. On October 13th, 2019, Eliud made history by becoming the first person to ever run a marathon in under 2 hours. But he didn't just break the world record, he obliterated it, finishing the race in an incredible 1 hour, 59 minutes, 40 seconds. And he did it all without any shoes. Eliud has been able to use his barefoot running style to his advantage, as he's able to generate more power and speed than runners who wear shoes. In fact, his record-breaking run was actually aided by the fact that he didn't have to worry about shoes slowing him down. Number 8. Longest remaining record in Olympics history. Mike Powell leaped 8.95 meters or 29 feet and 4.5 inches at the 1991 World Championships in athletics, setting the world record in the long jump. Powell's record has stood for nearly 3 decades and is currently the longest remaining record in Olympic history. Powell's world record jump was not without controversy, as some felt that the wind conditions at the time of the jump were favorable for long jumping. Regardless, Powell's jump has stood the test of time and remains one of the most impressive feats in Olympic history. While Powell's world record may eventually be broken, it currently stands as the longest remaining record in Olympic history. As such, it's a testament to Powell's incredible athleticism and determination. Number 7. Children and amateurs used to compete with each other. In the past, children and amateur athletes competed against each other in the Olympics. This is no longer the case, as the Olympics are now only for professional athletes. However, there are still some competitions that allow both children and adults to compete against each other. For example, the World's Strongest Man competition allows anyone over 18 to compete. Many children's sports leagues, such as Little League Baseball, allow children to compete against each other. Number 6. Olympians didn't win medals on winning in ancient times. In ancient Greece, winning wasn't everything. In fact, it wasn't even considered all that important. The ancient Greeks believed that the most important thing was participating in the games and doing one's best. They believed that this was what mattered most, not winning or losing. Of course, the ancient Greeks were also very competitive and wanted to win, but they didn't believe that winning was the most important thing. Today, things are very different. Winning has become everything. In today's world, the emphasis is on winning at all costs. People are willing to cheat, take drugs, or do whatever it takes. For the ancient Greeks, this would have been unthinkable. They believed participating in the games and doing your best were more important than winning, and they would be shocked at the lengths people will go to today to win. Number 5. Olympic torch relay isn't an ancient tradition. The Olympic torch relay is not an ancient tradition. It was first introduced at the 1936 Berlin Summer Olympics. German sports official Karl Diem conceived the idea. The relay was designed to bring the Olympic flame from Greece to the host city, Berlin. Since then, the torch relay has become a staple of the modern Olympic Games. It's seen as a way to bring the Olympic spirit to the world's people. The relay typically starts several months before the Games. It involves thousands of people carrying the torch across different continents. The torch relay is often criticized for being too commercialized and expensive. Some argue that it does not represent the true meaning of the Olympics. Nevertheless, it remains a popular event and is an important part of the Olympic Games. Number 4. The first Olympic drug suspension wasn't spotted until 1968. American swimmer Rick DeMont was stripped of his gold medal in the 400-meter freestyle after traces of ephedrine were found in his sample. Ephedrine was a common ingredient in cold medicines at the time, and DeMont said he didn't know it was banned. Since then, there have been a number of high-profile cases of athletes using banned substances to gain an edge at the Olympics. In most cases, the athletes are caught after they competed, and their medals are taken away retroactively. Number 3. Meaning of Olympic rings. Olympism brings people from all over the world together, and the 5 rings on the Olympic flag symbolize those continents. The colors black, red, blue, green, and yellow were chosen because every nation had at least one of them in its national flag at the time the flag was designed. The 5 populated continents represented at the first modern Olympic Games in Athens in 1896 are represented by interlocking rings. There's Africa, America, Asia, Australia, and Europe. The rings also represent the friendship and solidarity of athletes from around the world who come together to compete at the Olympic Games. Since its debut at the Antwerp Games in 1920, the Olympic flag has become a global symbol of peace and international understanding. At each edition of the Games, the flag is hoisted at the opening ceremony, while the host nation's flag is raised at the closing ceremony. The flag is also present at each medal ceremony, with athletes from corresponding continents receiving the flag to hold during the playing of their national anthem. Number 2. Ancient Olympics were only for men. The ancient Olympics were only for men. This is because the Greeks believed that women could not compete in sports. Women were not even allowed to watch the games. They could only do so from a separate arena called the Gymnasium. The ancient Olympics were revived in 1896 and women were finally allowed to compete. The first woman to compete in the modern Olympics was Greek swimmer Samantha Ravathi. She competed in the 100-meter freestyle event but didn't finish because there were no other competitors. The first official women's Olympic event was the 800-meter race, which was held at the 1912 Summer Olympics. 40 years later, the first woman won an individual Olympic gold medal. Her name was Czechoslovakian runner Emil Satopek. Since then, women have competed in all Olympic Games except for the 1900 Summer Olympics. Women's participation has increased over the years, making up nearly half of all athletes competing in the Olympics. Number 1. First modern Olympics featured only 9 sports. The first modern Olympics were held in Athens, Greece in 1896. At that time, only 9 sports were on the program: athletics, track and field, including cycling, fencing, gymnastics, shooting, swimming, tennis, weightlifting, and wrestling. Since then, the Olympics have grown considerably. The most recent Summer Olympics, held in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil in 2016, featured 28 sports. The Winter Olympics, first held in 1924, currently feature 7 sports. Athletics, track and field have been on the program of every edition of the Summer Olympics since 1896. It's also one of only 4 sports that have been contested at every Olympic Games since the inaugural edition of the Winter Olympics in 1924. The others are alpine skiing, figure skating, and speed skating. That was all for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and leave your opinions about athletes in the comments. We'll be back with another amazing video, and until then, take care and bye-bye.